Welcome back to the Big Dog Podcast. We're glad to have you.
Jason, I just want to jump right in on this next topic today. VSDs, I keep hearing more about them. What's the story?
All right, let's start with the basics. Variable speed drive compressors, or VSDs, are all about adaptability. Basically, they adjust the motor speed of the compressor to match your facility's air demand. That means you're not using more energy than you actually need. It's a pretty smart approach, especially compared to the fixed speed ones that, just run at one speed all the time regardless of demand.
Right, and here's where it gets really interesting. You know how traditional compressors can just burn through electricity even when they're not actively working?
Yeah, huge waste there.
Exactly, but with a VSD, when there's no load, like when your operations slow down, it essentially powers down and uses almost no energy at all. In comparison, a fixed speed compressor could eat up like 30 to 70% of its full load energy even when it's just sitting there doing nothing. That's, a massive difference.
And yeah, that's where the energy savings really kick in. By tailoring its speed to match demand, it means you're only paying for what you use. No more, no less. Pretty efficient, right?
Totally. On average, facilities using VSD compressors cut their energy costs by about a third. This is backed by a study from the American Society of Mechanical Engineers. They found that across multiple industries, VSD users saved over $17,000 annually. And here's the best part. The payback period is just 2 to 5 years. That's practically nothing in terms of industrial equipment life cycles.
$17,000 a year?
Yep, and that's just the average. Some places with dynamic demand could save even more.
All right, so we've got a system that's efficient, saves money, and makes adjustments on the fly depending on scenario. That's a seriously good deal, but it's not just about the dollars. There's more to it in terms of what these systems bring to performance.
Right. And speaking of performance, one of the most impressive things about VSD compressors is their ability to hold a super consistent pressure band. What is it? Like plus 1.5 psig? That kind of precision is a game changer for applications that really need steady airflow.
Yeah, and it's not just about the airflow. Narrower pressure bands mean your system's not constantly cycling up and down, which over time saves wear and tear on the equipment. You're looking at longer compressor life and less maintenance. That's real money saved right there.
Exactly. And the benefits don't stop there. Keeping that pressure steady improves the quality of the air too. Less moisture buildup, fewer contaminants. It's like giving your entire compressed air system an upgrade.
All right, but let's get real for a second. VSDs aren't perfect for every setup. Take plants with heavy dust or dirt in the air. Those environments can spell trouble for these systems. Dust gets into everything, and trust me, it'll ruin a VSD compressor faster than you can say, replacement part.
Totally, and let's not forget facilities with really erratic air demand. Like if your usage fluctuates from almost nothing to full blast, not ideal.
Exactly. Those big swings can push the compressor out of its efficiency sweet spot, either overloading it or running it so low you start seeing condensation problems inside the machine. And once rust and corrosion set in, game over.
Yikes. And then there's the cost factor. VSD compressors aren't cheap up front. You've got to factor in a pretty detailed payback analysis before pulling the trigger.
For sure. If you're not seeing enough energy savings or your application doesn't totally line up with what these machines do best, you're just throwing money away.
Right, but for the right environments, especially those with more stable demand profiles, those upfront costs can pay off big time. So, building on that, let's talk about how you can actually optimize your compressed air system to make sure it performs at its best. If you're considering adding a VSD compressor to your setup, one of the first steps you absolutely can't skip is an air audit. Those are critical, right?
Absolutely. An air audit's not just some checkbox exercise. It's about understanding what your system needs at a deeper level. You've got to pinpoint what's really going on with your demand profile. It's not one size fits all,
Exactly. And here's the thing. Those audits don't just tell you if a VSD is the right fit. They can reveal inefficiencies you might not even know about, like leaks or misaligned pressure settings that are just bleeding your system dry.
Yeah, and once you have that data, you can think bigger picture, like instead of relying on one compressor to do it all, why not go for a multi-compressor setup? You'd have your base load unit handling the steady work, a trim compressor to manage fluctuations, and a backup unit just sitting there ready to jump in if anything goes sideways.
Right, and the flexibility of that approach is a game changer. It's especially useful for plants with those big swings in demand, like the kind that run 3 shifts. You can use exactly what you need, no more, no less.
Exactly. And here's the kicker. By splitting the load across multiple compressors, you're not overworking any one machine. That means longer lifespans and less downtime across the board. Plus, you're optimizing your energy use, and at the end of the day, that's money in your pocket.
Totally. And to all our listeners, what's your system like right now? Could a setup like this bring better efficiency to your operation without breaking the bank? Maybe you don't need a VSD after all. A traditional compressor, strategically deployed, could actually be a smarter move for some scenarios.
Yeah, so take a hard look at your setup. Get that audit done, figure out what's draining your system, and don't be afraid to ask the tough questions when you're talking to your vendor. The goal's not just to check a few boxes, is to get something that actually works for you, day in and day out.
Exactly. And on that note, Jason, I think we've covered just about everything today. From VSD compressors to system configurations, this was packed with actionable insights.
Sure was. Well, that's it for this episode of the Big Dog Podcast. Keep optimizing out there, and we'll catch you next time.